Yeah, so Cognito is a service that enables you to easily add user management, authentication, authorization features to mobile or web applications. It can be used to authenticate users directly in Cognito, or you can use a third-party auth provider such as Google, Facebook, Twitter. In this step, we're going to create a user pool that you can use to populate with users, and in the later lab step, while creating the pool, you'll see different configuration options that are available. So we need to go over to Cognito. You'll see the primary Cognito page. It has two functions: to create user pools or identity pools. User pools are a directory of users in Cognito used for authentication. An identity pool provides temporary credentials for use in authorization. You basically assume a role. Alright, so we're going to create a new pool. User pool, it's managed right here. Take a minute to look over the available options. We have the Cognito pool, a federated identity provider. In this case, we're going to use the user pool. We're going to select username and email. So those are the two sign-in options. So there are additional username requirements that can be added, but we're not required for the lab. Okay, so we'll skip those two buttons. Alright, now we see the configure security requirements page. Under password policy, leave this default. MFA, we want none because we're going to use it. But MFA is best practice, so we should use that in production. Under user account recovery, leave the default option. So that's fine. Under self-service sign-up, enable self-registration. Is that there? Is that next page? Yeah, there we go. So you need to uncheck that. This will allow users to sign themselves up, but it can also lead to a security issue. Leave all the other options default and click next. So we're not going to do any verification. We're not requiring attributes to be put in. Alright, now we'll see configure message delivery under email and send email with Cognito. This is an appropriate choice as we will not have many users in the lab to exceed 50 emails. So we're going to do that option. You can use it to send up to 50, so because we're going to have less than 50 it doesn't matter. Otherwise we'd have to send the emails with the SES service. Right, click next, that's what we have to do. Under user pool, we need to call it my customers. Under the initial app client, we need to call it test auth. So this is our application that we're going to use for authentication. Don't generate a client secret. It's already selected. Amazon Cognito App Client is an entity that can call unauthenticated API operations. To use the app client, you will need an app client ID and an operational client secret. App clients can be used to register users, sign them in, and handle forgotten passwords. Leave all other options default and click next. You'll see the review and create page, and you can just create the user pool, so we don't need to do anything else. This is just a summary. Great. Pool has been created. Make a note of your user pool ID. Let's check that in my notepad. User pool identifier is unique. It's unique to every pool. Yours will be different from the one in the lab. Use this ID later on. Leave the tab open as we'll use it in the next step. So we need to check that we created the pool correctly. So let's have a look. Did it work? We did. Sweet. Alright, cool. Now we're going to import users into our user pool. So users can be added to the Cognito user pool several ways, either by users signing themselves up, manually adding a user using the Cognito console, or importing users in bulk. In this step, we're going to import users using a CSV file. The file contains a header row for every user that we're going to import. Imported users is the quickest way to populate a Cognito pool. Download the example, so I need to get this CSV file. So we've got in here, we've got username, name, a given name, family name, middle name, nickname, preferred name, profile, picture, website, blah blah blah, like basically attributes that you're going to capture as part of the user, whether MFA is enabled or not. Okay, so we can skip that. Right, in the Cognito console, we're going to click on the user pool that we created, so my customer. We're going to import. Find it. Import job. The job name is going to be called mycusts. Import and use an existing role. And we're going to use, which one do we want? Import role. Get my CSV, custs. Create and start the job. The role selected has been pre-created as part of the lab. The policy attached to it allows you to create CloudWatch log entries. Import pending. There we go, so it succeeded. Refresh it, you'll see the users have been imported. So if we refresh, there we go. Account status of the users will be reset required. This means that user will need to reset their password and it cannot be imported because storing passwords in plain text is a security risk. Forcing a password reset prevents unauthorized access to the users that were imported. In the list of users, click on Jane. Take a moment to observe the data that was imported. Oh, so these are all the things that are in the CSV file. Return to the user list, use the back button and click SAM. This is a user that had additional data fields compared with the other users. They've also got gender, given name, middle name. So those have also been populated. Be aware that you can also create groups. Users will be added to groups and working with groups is similar to working with users. That is all we do. So we need to check that we did the import. Which we obviously did because we've just gone through it. Manually adding a user to the pool. So we're going to go back up to the pool. We're going to create a user. And now we can manually add them. So we're going to do don't send an invite, username. We've got a specific, yeah we do. So username must be this. Jane Doe. Email. Enter a valid email. Let's just do janedoe.janedoe. Mark it as verified. Give it a password. Create a user. We'll see that temporary password does not meet the policy, which we would have seen because it didn't tick all the boxes. When you create the user pool, you've removed most of the password complexity requirements. You did this specifically so that the password should be at least 8 characters, contain a number and a special character. In the password field, enter this. So I need to change the password that they told me to put in with this. So now it ticks everything. And now when we create the user, it will create the user. Don't need to save it. We should now see Jane Doe in the list. Force password change. So the user will be forced to change their password when they sign in next. Check the email address that you use when creating the user. You should have received an email from an AWS, which I wouldn't have, because I put in a random one. Your email may be different depending on the username, temporary password. That email would have given you a temporary login to reset your password. Alright, cool. So we've manually added a user, we've tested it. Last step is to authenticate using AWS JavaScript SDK. So we need to go back into pool, create another user. And this user is going to be called Gregory Doe. Right, this I have to put a valid email in, so password would be that. Put a real password in, a real email in rather. And let's create. See if it sends me an email. Didn't send me an email. Has it spammed it? No. Is it going to send me anything or not? Otherwise I'll carry on. Let's just give it a temp email and we'll use that. I don't care if you see it. So we've created a temporary email we can get responses to. Alright, so we created the user, got their password anyway, so we know they're going to be forced to change it when they log in. If we scroll up to the user pool overview, copy the pool ID. Okay, so then we click on app integration. Alright, copy the client ID. So we want a we got one. App clients, client ID, there we go. So client ID. Save that over there. These two IDs, along with your username and a temporary password, are all you need to authenticate against the Cognito user pool. Open a browser and navigate to the web page. So here we can test that the account login works. So we need the pool, client ID, and then username, password. And then this should sign us in. Incorrect username and password, of course. It's definitely not wrong. Client ID. Got any spaces or weirdness going on, mate? Recall that the force change password workflow is being enforced for the new user. Enter password. It's not giving me the option to change my password, so this step doesn't work. Incorrect using. No, this is dumb. Right. Go to users, Gregory Doe. Let's hope it's all lowercase and it's doing that. Let's try that. No, okay. Alright, can we... Just if I could just reset the password now. Won't let me. Yeah, delete. Let's create him again. Set a password, generate a password. I'm going to give them what it tells me, so that one. Right, so we created them again, it's giving me the forced password again. Right, let's do the cap so that, just in case that matters. Right, there we go, it's doing it now. Alright, so I'm going to change the password to that. Successfully authenticated. There's a time to live associated with the web form. If you take too long, you have to refresh browser tab. Reopen it, the user pool, log in again. So that time it just logs in, doesn't have the extra field to change password. Go back into here, we can refresh and it'll say password was changed and it's confirmed. That's what should have happened.